welcome everybody at the outset on behalf of Ramakrishna Vedanta Society of Philippines and Ramakrishna Center of Dublin. We extend all of you a very hearty welcome and very welcome to today's session. And today's session is on a very important topic, 3Ds, death, desirable or detestable. The objective of this session has been to give a spiritual injection to the people so that they have courage to face with the present pandemic, give a spiritual perspective. And we had 3 sessions earlier. Ananda Maharaj, Tyagarupananda ji, Atma Shraddhananda ji, Maharaj ji from Kanpur, Pankaj Maharaj, and Ganeshananda ji from Berlin spoke on very useful subject, and we had a lot of participants ranging from 60 to 100, and we will have on next Sunday a lecture by Satya Lokananda ji of Singapore Ashram, followed by President of Delhi Ashram, Santatmananda ji, Jaishankar Maharaj, and followed by again Samachitananda ji next Sunday. So we have almost lined up till first week of August. So let us take maximum benefit of this. At the outset, we extend very hearty welcome to Vimokshananda ji Maharaj. We are so grateful to you for giving us this opportunity. Many of you know Swami Vimokshananda ji personally and have listened to his discourses and met with him personally, and also watched his videos available in the YouTube. But for brief introduction, let me mention that Swami Vimokshananda ji is a senior monk of the Ramakrishna Order. Presently, he is the minister in charge of the Ramakrishna Center in Dublin, Ireland, Ayr Vedanta Society. He was initiated into spiritual life by Swami Nirvanananda ji Maharaj, a direct disciple of Swami Brahmananda ji Maharaj at the Mumbai ashram of the Ramakrishna Mission in 1970. Apart from his monastic training, after his joining the Kanpur branch of Ramakrishna Mission in 1971, he worked extensively in the cyclone-affected areas of Andhra Pradesh from 1972 to 1979. He took his monastic vows in 1981 from Swami Vireshwarananda ji Maharaj, a disciple of Sri Sarada Devi, the spiritual consort of Sri Ramakrishna. From 1979 to 1986, he assisted in building up the new Ramakrishna Mission Hospital at Itanagar, Arunachal Pradesh. Udarananda ji was also earlier posted in the same hospital. From then onwards, he was in various administrative capacities and Ramakrishna Mission's different branches like Long High School in Arunachal Pradesh, Kolkata Seva Pratishthan, and Ranchi TB Sanatorium. From 2007 to 2014, he was the president of the Ramakrishna Center of South Africa in Durban. From 2015 to 26 June 2018, he was president of Singapore Ramakrishna Mission. Swami Vimokshananda ji regularly conducts scriptural classes on Gita, Upanishads, and Puranas, and delivers religious discourses on any of the topic of interest concerned with spiritual ideas of Ramakrishna Sharda Vivekananda. He is deeply interested in promoting Vedanta as a suitable tool for the modern ways of life. He also facilitates deeper understanding among various sects of Hinduism by interacting with intra-religious groups, leaders. Likewise, in multi-racial, multi-religious societies, he advocates harmony of faiths, which is very, very important for foreign centers, propounded by Sri Ramakrishna as a main plank for maintaining global peace. He has maintained a personal blog for public consumption since 2008. Uh, Now, Udanandaji Maharaj will speak a few words. He is not keeping well today. He will speak. And after Udanandaji speaks, and before Vimokshanandaji starts his spiritual discourse, may I request you all to keep 1 minute silence in the memory of Vice President Maharaj ji, whom we lost two days back, I think. So let us proceed. Swami Udaranandaji.
Now, 1 minute silence we will first maintain. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Namaste. Hello, I, on behalf of Ramakrishna Vedanta Society Philippines, welcome you all. And I welcome Maharaj, and we are very thankful to Maharaj for kindly accepting our request to speak. And I think due to pandemic, there are many bad things are happening, but the good thing is that this is almost an international seminar. People from all over many parts of the world participating and getting the knowledge at just sitting at their luxury of their comfort of home. This is the privilege, and I think people will utilize this and gain much benefit from the talks of the Swamis that we have organized all through this up to August. Every Sunday we have one talk scheduled. I think we will learn immensely and get greatly benefited through these talks. So now, instead of giving, because introduction has already been given by Sri Nirmal Ganguly, so I will now request Maharaj to please begin. Maharaj ji, please. A respectful pronounce.
ॐ अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः हरिः ॐ नमो भगवते श्रीरामकृष्णाय. My dear Udarananda and other devotees who have assembled today, and also our friends, I am indeed happy to meet many of you once again. So I remember the days that I spent in Manila with my brother Udarananda, and the devotees were very good. They paid so much attention to me, and I can't say how Pushpa fed us twice a day sometimes. And of course, every day noontime she would bring food for us. The devotees are wonderful. Ria also I remember, and also other devotees, Enrico and his brother. Yes, we visited some of the historical places also in Manila, nearby. And then everything went off well, and I was posted at that time to Ireland. I came away to Ireland. Everything seems to be very nicely going when, by the will of God, there was a jolt to our existence itself, and that came in the form of coronavirus. As it spread its tentacles everywhere, I could feel sitting at the distant Ireland and around me in Europe. It came so big, particularly Italy and France, and then it spread in all over the world. Not one single country was left without being affected. Since I am from India, I was interested how India is faring. And it is so disturbing that to my mind that even in India, so many of deaths, death, death, death everywhere. We have heard or read in the history when the king Ashoka waged a war in Kalinga. When the war was over, he turned around and saw only corpses, corpses, corpses everywhere. Go back further, interior days, during Mahabharata days, when Mahabharata's 18-day war was over, everywhere the death was dancing in joy. You see that the death it comes in a huge manner. Also, in our own houses, have you not seen our death? Till 25 years of my life, I have not seen a death in my family. In 22nd year, I joined the Ramakrishna Mission. And then later I was posted to Itanagar. In Itanagar, it's a hospital. Very first time, I saw a patient dying in front of my eyes, in spite of the doctor's best attention. I saw the death for the first time, how the death comes and takes away the man's prana, the psychic energy that he has got. I was stunned. That was the first time I saw death in front of me. And after that, I came to Seva Pratishthan, which is Shishu Mangal in Calcutta, where many, many deaths I have seen. I was in charge of the ward where the old sadhus were treated, and I have seen before my eyes how the death comes and takes them away. Next day, the bed is empty. The death has been very familiar to us. It has become more familiar to us after the corona. So, the question sometimes comes to my mind, is death desirable or it is detestable? Should we be afraid of death? Or, as some great sages say, should we go and embrace the death? Is there any way that death can be overcome? Is there any way that we can stay on forever? So these are the questions that agitate our mind. So I would like to think some of the points, that arise from the death. So first of all, I would like to take you to the Mahabharata days. Yudhishthira, the first son of Pandu, he was simply surprised that none of his 4 brothers who went to bring water did not return. He was stunned. Why Bhima has not returned, Arjuna has not returned, Nakul, Sahadev have not returned? So he himself told Draupadi, let me go and search for my brothers. Because they were all actually thirsty, no water with them. That's why he sent his brother one by one. Then finally, he himself goes a beautiful pond, a lake, where beautiful, wonderful flowers are there. When he went to the shore of that lake, he saw all his 4 brothers are dead. They are laying on the ground. And he went and saw them no breath. But then he was stunned. His brothers are dead. How could they die? Because there is nothing, no harm to their body anywhere. And then, but he was also very thirsty. So he thought, let me take the water. Let me go there. And he went to take the water. The moment he took the water in his hand, yes, a voice came from the heavens. It stopped him. Hey Yudhishthira, don't drink the water unless you answer my question. Yudhishthira, is said to be a wonderful personality. That is very calm, quiet, composed, collected personality. That type of Yudhishthira left the water from his hands. And he said, okay, who are you? Ask me. That voice said, I am Yaksha. I am going to put certain questions to you. How many questions he put? 33 questions he put. And for every question, either one word answer or a sentence of 2-3 words. Yudhishthira was very brief in answering. One of the question was, what is the greatest wonder in this world? Naturally, we know, we have read geography, history, so we will call 7 wonders of the world, we shall say. In Yudhishthira's time also there were wonders, but he didn't say any of those physical wonders. Yudhishthira replied to the Yaksha, look, Yaksha, the greatest wonder in this world is, even though all around seeing people are dying, my feeling that I shall not die. This is the wonder of the wonders. True. We have seen death in our families. We have seen death with our parents. We have seen our death with brothers and sisters. Still, do I think that I am going to die? Only the fear has been given now by the corona. The same state happened. I am taking you to the 4th BC, when the Greeks were at the height of their civilization. And what was the Greek and Roman civilization emphasized? They emphasized that as long as you live, enjoy this world. Make your body sufficiently strong to enjoy this world. The world is throwing before you lots of enjoyments. Let you enjoy. And enjoyment is the goal of life. And there, about 356, a person came. He was the greatest wise man, Socrates. Socrates saw this. He found out this cannot be the goal of life. Enjoyment cannot be the goal of life. So he objected. He spoke to the youth. He turned their minds. And he went. In those days, Greeks have 12 main gods and goddesses. They were worshipping them without any scientific basis. With Socrates, the first time the Western scientific temperament developed. All the scientists say that. The scientific temperament, where you question and you ask for and you try to analyze, not mere faith or a blind faith. So that is what Socrates started, and that became a big scandal in the society. And majority of the government officials, they were against Socrates. So a case was instituted against him, and 500 jurors were appointed to find out whether Socrates is guilty of corrupting the society or not. 500 jurors are seated, and thousands of onlookers, the citizens have come who loved Socrates. And that Socrates was seated. And then the judgment came finally. He should be punished by giving a cup of hemlock poison. The man who brought the poison cup, he was shivering. He handed over to Socrates. With other people who have been punished like that, they themselves used to weep, cry, lament, and they would not touch the cup. The cup would be kept there. And unless they are forced, they would not drink. But here, the man who brought the cup was stunned to see an old man and asking for the cup and taking in his hand, so calmly he is seated. Around him, his disciples were seated. The women folk are there. They are crying and wailing. Socrates ordered the women folk to go out from the room. And he told his disciples, why are you all crying? They said, you are going to die, sir. Do you think so? Am I going to die? They cannot catch my soul. They can catch only this body. And the body is born and it must die one day. This is the first time you hear in the Greek civilization that Socrates is providing a philosophy that something else in the body is living. The body is there, yes. Body lives for some time and then it goes away to the position called death. But is there any something inside? That is what Socrates started. But Western philosophers or Western idealists, they never took this idea much further. With the result, the science came up at that time, and then they held any idea above the body level is are all superstitions. So they denied that. With the result, a kind of atheism, agnosticism started spreading, and people started holding to those ideas. But you go 700 years before Socrates. The background you see, how beautiful mountains and forests. In that type of Himalayan forest, our sages in India used to sit and discuss the life and death. There is a beautiful Upanishad called Prashna Upanishad. In Prashna Upanishad, the Prashna Upanishad says, yes, there is a life beyond the body. Yat chittas tenaisha pranam ayati. Chitta is, prana is capturing the chitta and going, moving outside. Tata sankalpitam lokam nayati. It will take it. The soul is taken outside. And you come to Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. How beautifully the Rishi says, Nanyo stosti drashta, he says. Na anya ata asti drashta. Likewise, na anya ata asti srota. He cannot be seen, but he is the seer. Something is there within our body that cannot be heard, but he is the listener. And then it says, he is the listener, he cannot be thought of because he is the thinker. And it says, he cannot be known because he is the knower. Who is this knower? Then positive way, the Rishi says that Yeshata Atma Antaryami. Within myself, within inside ourselves, there is one who is the seer, drashta, who is the listener, srota, who is the manta, who is the thinker, and who is vijnata, who is the knower. All these things, there is somebody antaryami inside me, and that antaryami is amritam. What a beautiful word, amritam. No mrita, no death. The concept of death is temporary. It is normal to anybody who has taken the composite body, but then there is a state of existence where death cannot peep in. A place, a situation called Amritam. Amritam asti. That is what Upanishad says. It is immortal. That immortal is within everyone. Swami Vivekananda identified this immortal and then he termed it as a divinity. So he used to say proudly, each soul is potentially divine. Potentially, because I am not seeing it outwardly. Neither I am realizing that I am divine. Why I am not realizing I am divine? I have been told from childhood, you cannot do anything, you cannot study well, you cannot do a particular job, you are useless, hopeless. We have been telling our children. And when the children grow up with this idea, how can they believe that they are immortal? So the fear of death has come. Because we are not thinking about death, we are not imagining about death, there is a fear has come. There is a beautiful book Swami Vivekananda used to carry during his wandering days. 2 books. One is Bhagavad Gita. Do you know what is the other book that he used to carry? The Imitation of Christ. In that Imitation of Christ, a chapter is devoted for death. It is available in internet, you can see that book. Many people have in their homes also. When you open that chapter, one chapter, about 2 pages, and when you read the death, you understand how much thought has been put into. Death is temporary. Don't think it is permanent. Permanent is one who lives, who sees the death. We see the death. And then we fall into death, and that is a period of interregnum before we take another body. So, vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya. Navani grihnati naroparani. Sri Krishna says in Gita, as a person sheds worn out clothes, garments, and wears new clothes, Tata, likewise, Sharirani Vihaya, leaving the body. Which type of body? Jirna body. Jirna. Already it has been digested. Already it is useless. That Jirna body has left it. Anyani Samyati. Another body he takes. Who is taking? Dehi. And what type of body he takes? Navani Deha. New body he takes. So Dehi, that means the Antaryami who is in mind, he is taking a new body. Likewise, we have got innumerable new bodies. And the Vedas and other scriptures, Dharma Shastras especially, instruct all the Hindus not to kill yourself. And today, it is staggering to see how many suicide cases are happening. Most of them do not come out in the press. We do not know. I inquired one chief police officer. So how many cases are? He said staggering number, but we are not allowed to tell outside. Because that will depress further the society. So for this, considering the good of the society, we don't reveal the statistics. Still, whatever has been registered in the police station, you see the number of cases of suicide is increasing. Sri Ramakrishna was dead against the suicide. He says to his disciple, suicide is a heinous sin, he says. Heinous. It's not a normal sin. Heinous sin. Very terrible sin. With that sin, you will not be able to get any type of next birth also. That type of things, you will be only pisacha. Like a ghost, you will be moving around. You won't have a body. So, this death seems to be, to some people, puts an end to the life, and that's all they say. It is not. When the death comes and I die, don't think that I am finished. I cannot be finished. That's why when the great Alexander, who came to India and met a monk under the tree, he said, sir, by talking to you every day, I am finding new things coming to my mind. You have been a great wisdom you have. So why don't you come to my country? I am returning to my country now. That sage said, no, my dear king, I am not interested to move out. I am quite happy under this tree and spend my life. And when the death comes, I will leave the body. That's all. Then he says, do you know to whom you are speaking? I am the great Alexander King telling. You must come with me. I will give you biggest bungalow there. I will give you servants. I will give you food. What you are eating here? Only the dry leaves? I will give you fresh food. Come. Then also the sage says, no, I shall not go. Then he gets angry. Emperor is denied. He is refused obedience. What he did? He takes his sword. Said, do you know I can sever your head? Then that sage burst into laughter. Swami Vivekananda narrates this story in his own inimical way. When you see that, so beautiful words he uses. I cannot, of course, repeat that. I am only giving the gist of that. You must read the story. And then the scene comes before your eyes. The king is open sword, he is standing before the sage, and he says, I am going to cut your head. And the rishi goes into loud laughter. The sword that he was holding falls to the ground, and Alexander asks him, why are you laughing? I am going to kill you. He said, the greatest lie that you have ever spoken in your life, if there is any, this is that lie, he says. What lie? How do you say it? I am going to kill you. Killing is real. You say it is a lie. Say, yes, because you cannot kill me. Nainam chindanti shastrani. No shastra, no weapon can kill. Gita says in Mahabharata days. Nainam dahati pavaka. None of these flames can burn me. So, that one is me. How can you kill? If you say that you are killing me, it's the biggest lie, because you have not understood who is Antaryami, who is within you. That is it. The death has to be like that. Once you feel that there is no death, it is only a temporary position to take a new birth, you are freed of the fear of death. This is the first stage of conquering death. Fear of death should not be in your mind. But then you say, Swamiji, if my own father dies, should I not weep? Should I not be sad? Yes. Because you are human, you got attachment to your father, you will definitely weep for that. You will definitely adopt all those systems of doing the final rites, having fasting, doing puja, worship, etc., etc., everything you are doing. But knowing well that that is not a full stop for him. He is going to come to your own family in 2-3 generations. He will be there with you as your grandson. Your father, you will be going to serve. If you have not served him properly when he was living, he is going to come to you as a grandson and he will take all the service from you. He will not even allow you to have 10 wings because you have neglected him. So he will take it away from you. That is the law of karma says. So the death is only a stationary place where you stop for some time. But is there any other instances in our life? Come to Sri Ramakrishna's life. Sri Ramakrishna says, you see, death, one suicide is heinous sin, but there are some deaths that are desirable, he says. One Gopal Shen in Calcutta, from Baranagar, he used to come to Dakshineswar and meet Sri Ramakrishna. And he used to sit with him for a long time and have discussion with him, etc. And then one day suddenly he gets the news, Ramakrishna got the news that Gopal Sen has committed suicide. Then Sri Ramakrishna speaks about Gopal Sen. Oh, Gopal Sen has left his body. Good, good, he says. Why good? The other disciples were sitting there under his feet. They could not understand why he says. Then Sri Ramakrishna explains. You see, he used to come to me. Last time when he came, he said he had the darshan of different devatas. All the deities that Hindus worship, they used to come before him. He used to talk to them. And he must have found that keeping the body is no more necessary. Then, if you have a Atma Drashta, you are the seer of your own self, you are Atman, this body is no more necessary. And Sri Ramakrishna gives an example for that. You have a mold, and you take a gold coin and make a gold ornament you make according to the mold. And then the mold is only made of clay. You have made a pot, and the pot has come out now. Now the mold, you may keep it or you may break it. So Sri Ramakrishna beautifully says, for a person Atma Drashta, one who has seen his own Atman, one who has realized God, for him the keeping the body or leaving the body is not a matter at all. So it is desirable. It happened to Totapuri, his own sannyasa guru. Totapuri was so interested, and on quite funny day, he got terrible stomach pain. He couldn't stand. The very Totapuri used to say, there is no body, there is no mind, there is no chitta, there is no buddhi, there is no ahankara. There is only one, and that is Atman. That is what he used to say. Today, he is holding his hands on the stomach and lying on the ground and crying, oh, so much pain, so much pain, so much pain. Sri Ramakrishna saw that. His guru is suffering. And then, when Sri Ramakrishna left that place, without saying anything, he knew, because it is Mother Kali's Leela, he understands. So Sri Ramakrishna didn't say a word to him. And Totapuri decided, I can't stand this pain. I must go. Because you will find that strangely, a story is said about Adi Shankara. You know, Adi Shankara was speaking gloriously about Atman, self-realization. And then After that, with his disciple, he was going back to his kutia. On the way, a tiger came. And the tiger was ferocious. It is standing on the rock. It is going to jump upon Adi Shankara. And the disciple runs and catches Adi Shankara's feet and says, "Sir, sir, the tiger will kill you. Let us run." So Adi Shankara ran. And the disciple also ran from the vision of tiger. Anyway, they were escaping. Now, once they settled in their kutia, the disciple says, "Sir, you just told before this incident that the world is nothing. And you were so much afraid of tiger. And when I said run, you simply ran." Shankara said, "You see, I told the world is Maya. Why don't you take it? My running also is Maya." So that is the fun he made. This is what happened to Totapuri. Totapuri said, "I am not feeling that body is a temperament, is permanent. So let me finish this body." He went to the Ganges. Ganges, full of depth. And you cannot even, sometimes you are drowned, you cannot come out. And he started walking into the Ganges, got down the steps, and he starts walking into the waters. And what happened? A miracle. The Ganges water went down and down and down in its level. And it was not more than his knees. He could not even take full bath in that. How is he going to drown? And he walked all the way to the other shore. And he came back. And when he came back, Sri Ramakrishna was standing there and clapping his hand and smiling and says, "Why, Ramakrishna? Why are you smiling at me?" He said, "I knew. You see, you must accept Mother. Once you accept the Mother, Divine Mother, who is conducting this world, this is called Vyavaharika Satya. This is no doubt, it is not an unreality. It is a reality, but it is called Vyavaharik Satya. Paramarthik Satya is the God, that you are Atman, you are Brahman, etc. But Vyavaharika world, the practical world, who is conducting this world? The Brahman's power is conducting, and that power is worshipped as a mother. And that Mother Shakti is there. You must accept this Mother Shakti." And so that's how they gone over the death. The death is for the body, not for me. This, unless you have that. I know a devotee in Ranchi whose mother was extremely devoted to Holy Mother. She was in deathbed in the hospital. The son rang me, "Swamiji, the doctor says she won't remain at least more than a few hours. Would you please come to the hospital?" So I went to the hospital and stood before her. She said namaste to me. And her son also was standing there. And she looked at me, and then I went near her, and then I gave my hands and held her hands. She held my hands so tightly. I thought she's going to say something. She was mumbling something. So I went nearest to her face and said, "Ma, tell me something. What you are telling? Little louder, please." I'm telling her. Then she showed me the picture of Holy Mother kept there. Said, "Bring it to me." So I went and gave the bed and kept the picture. Looking at the picture in front of my eyes, she passed on. See, devotees. I have seen sadhus dying like that, and devotees also dying like that. There is no fear at all. Another lady in South Africa, she is the devotee of the Swami Shivananda's Divine Life Society. So I went to her. She was having cancer. And the doctor said 6 months date, that's all. She will live for 6 months. So when I went and met her, she got up, she sat in her chair, and we were talking. And she is the Krishna devotee. So I was talking about Krishna. And then I asked her, "Mother, don't you feel fear? See, your son is fearing, your daughter-in-law is fearing, everybody is great grip of fear that you are going to die because doctor has said." How do you look at death? She said, "I don't even think about it. I have completely surrendered to my Ishta, Lord Sri Krishna. And then what is there for me to worry, Maharaj? The body will definitely has come, it must go. But I will be moving with Sri Krishna. I have no fear at all." See, a devotee can rise to such a high level. in Seva Pratishthan, that is, which is called Ramakrishna Mission, Seva Pratishthan, which is called Sishu Mangal. I was there for 6 years. As I told you, I have seen many deaths. And one Swami, I took our Dr. Banerjee, and Banerjee was looking at him. At that time, the doctor says, don't prescribe any test tomorrow. Then doctor said, why Maharaj? I want to test your blood, etc. Said, no. Today, when I was sleeping, Sri Ramakrishna came to me and he said, tomorrow at 5:30, I am taking you with me. He said, so why unnecessarily waste money on the testing, etc.? So he is telling. But the doctor thought, because he is in hallucination state, he is going to die, so he is talking like that. He said, no, Maharaj, we will do as a doctor, my duty I should do. Like that he went away. So next day, 5 o'clock, I thought, I must go to that Swami and stand in front of him. How Sri Ramakrishna comes and takes him. And 2 minutes I got delayed. But I told my sister in the ward, be there with him for 10 minutes before 5. And she was there with him. And the junior doctor was with him. But when I went 2 minutes late only, the nurse says, he left Maharaj exactly at 5:30. I said, yes, 5:30 he left. Yes. He was, what he was doing? He just put his hands together. And he was also mumbling something we could not understand. And he left. Swami Ranganathananji says, one of the patients he met, and the patient has died taking the name of Lord. And he said, that room where he was there with the patient who died, that room became like a shrine. Such a holy atmosphere suddenly engulfed the entire room. He was so happy. So, there are many instances in the world. And what is the root cause of getting over this fear of death? Yes, we got the fear of death. Is it not Mary and Martha, the 2 sisters? In Bible we read, is it not John says in the incident that they were terribly upset. They were all weeping and wailing. And the news goes to Jesus Christ. And then what the news? That Lazarus, their brother, is dead now. 4 days before he died. Jesus says, no. He's sleeping. He's asleep, he says. And others says, no, sir. He is not sleeping. He is dead 4 days before. So he goes there. Martha comes. And Jesus asks, where is Mary? Call her. And both the sisters come before him. And while weeping, they fall down at his feet. You see, the system of Jews respecting a holy man in those days. The 2 sisters come to Jesus. It is written there by John that they fell down at his feet. That is, making pranam. Nothing else but pranam it is. And then they say that, sir, if you had been with us, my brother Lazarus would not have passed away. Jesus smiles and he says, where is he? So he is kept in that. There is a tomb which we have kept him. And there is a stone with that they have covered the door. Jesus says, let us go. And they walk to the distance. And then Jesus orders them to remove the stone. And Martha says, no, sir, we cannot remove that. Why? 4 days the dead body is lying, so much of bad smell. You cannot stand that smell. He says, if he is dead only, that smell would come. Then what he says? Says, remove the stone. And in a loud voice, the Bible says, loud voice, he calls, Lazarus, rise, come out. And then he comes out with all the bandage, etc., the face mask, etc., they have put after the dead body. So with all that he has come out. And Jesus instructs the 2 sisters, remove all these things, make him free. And then it was all removed. And Lazarus stands before him in flesh and blood. So she is asking, I cannot believe my eyes. Then Jesus gives a beautiful statement. I am the resurrection and I am the life. What he says? Whoever believes in me, though he die, yet shall he live. What a beautiful statement is it. If you believe in God, if you believe in a great sage, a great Avatara Purusha, Jesus is Avatara Purusha for us, a great incarnation. Any incarnation you take according to your temperament, according to your liking, if you believe in him, he is the life and he is the resurrection also. Because he will give you a next life. And what a beautiful life he is going to give you when you think of him at the time of death. It is a great thing, to think yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tejante kalevaram. The Gita says, Sri Krishna says that yam yam vapi, whatever you are going to smaran, you are going to remember, at which time? Kalevaram tejante, when you leave the body, when I am lying down for death bed, then I must think what? Whatever I am going to think, tam tamaivaiti kaunteya. Hey Kaunteya, you are going to reach that state of what you think. So there is an afterlife. If there is afterlife, what is the benefit of having this? Have you anybody seen? How many people died? Has anybody come back and told, yes, I was such and such like that? Has he told you? There are near-death experiences. Nowadays, psychology, parapsychology teaches that. But apart from the near-death experience, has anybody come back from death and told you? So people don't want to believe. They say, no, there is no afterlife. But Jesus says, whoever believes in me, and what happens to him? He may, though he die, yet he shall live. And everyone who lives and believes in me shall never die. That is the second sentence. Can you imagine this? If you believe in God, you have got no death. Deathless is our nature. Amritam iha bhavati. It is Amritam. There is no death. Eternal, immortal. I am immortal. This idea of Vedanta gives you great hope that I don't fear death. This death, maybe some people may say, no, I dislike this death, I am afraid of this death, it is detestable, that should not be there, etc., you may say. But, and we are seeing today, seeing thousands and thousands or millions of people dying, we nearly come to the conclusion that we don't want death. But then the body has to go. So, what is there in us is the fear of death is what happening to us. Once I met a group of old people, about all retired people, old age home. I went and I met them. I asked them, "You have seen your life. You have been children. You have been youth. You have enjoyed your life so much. All the enjoyments you have had, and now you are in the old age home. What is the biggest fear that you have now?" Everyone in chorus, they said, death. You see? Death is the fearful thing for them. I was stunned. I thought something else they are going to say. No, death is the fearsome, because I am going to leave my body. I am attached to the body. I am clinging to the body. How can I leave this body? I said, at the age of 86, what more enjoyment you are going to have by keeping this body? I asked them. They were stunned. Swamiji, even in the oldest age, 100 years, 120 years, there are enjoyment. And that is what one king in Bhagavatam comes, that king thought. He went and asked his son, "Hey, please give your life. I want to become youth." So the son gave, one son gave. Then he lived that life also, youthful life. Only enjoyment, enjoyment, enjoyment. Second son he asked, he also gave. Third son gave, fourth son gave. And then after enjoying his life with 4 bodies, that 4 terms of youth, he realized, "Arey, this is not going to end. Whatever enjoyment I am having, the enjoyment is like a ghee on the fire. So I am putting fire. On the fire I am putting the ghee, and the ghee is making me." So with this result, that he decided, no, the desire is the cause for my suffering, he understood. So there are umpteen examples in every religion, and in every scriptures. And particularly if you take the modern scripture as Sri Ramakrishna's Gospel, Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, Gospel of Holy Mother, complete works of Swami Vivekananda, these three books are enough for one's life. This life, I tell you. You may not be very well educated or well read all the scriptures. It doesn't matter. I have told many people at 70, 80 years, they are starting the Gospel of Ramakrishna now. Before that, they have never touched that book. And I tell them, this one book is enough for you, for your life. And many devotees have told me also, Maharaj, we are quite, and that's why when you speak to the Ramakrishna devotees, you are speaking to people who know all these ideas. These are not new to them because they have read already in the Gospel. Only thing, it is being strengthened now. Any idea you read or you hear once, it is not going to stay in your mind. That's why people are advised to go for Sadhu Sangh. I am very happy that the Philippines Manila Ashram is doing such a beautiful service to the society by calling every month one Swami from all around the globe and exposing wonderful ideas of Ramakrishna, Vivekananda and Vedanta to the people at large. And this is a great service. I thank Nirmal Babu and Swami Udarananda for attempting this wonderful activity. So, dear devotees, I think my 40 minutes are over, I think. If you have any question or anything you may raise.
Thank
Please,
you
sir.
very much, Maharaj. Now I would request, we have about 15 minutes for question and answer session. Please be brief so that more people, about 5 to 6 people can be accommodated. So keep your question short and unmute yourself when you speak, and then the moment you finish, please mute yourself so that there is no disturbance. Thank you.
Pranam Maharaj.
Yes, please. Pranam, namaskar.
I am Divanath from Bangalore.
Okay.
Divanath Chakraborty.
Okay, welcome.
Recently, we read a study where there were a compilation of 6 near-death experiences by 6 different patients, where after they were revived and recovered, people took their interviews,
Okay.
and all that happened during the period of their resuscitation and the near-death experience were graphically described by these people, each one of them,
Okay.
and recorded, where they said they appeared to stand in one corner of the room and described without any mistake all that happened, including the doctors that were involved, they identified. And in the scriptures also we find that there are states like Chaya Tapayo Riva Brahma Loke.
Correct.
So is that possible?
Yes, it is possible because it is not only isolated experience or experiment that was made at this time. There have been many cases of people who had that near-death experience but come out from the death and gone back to their body. Do you remember in Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi's life, once she sat for meditation and the mind went up and up and up, it completely cut off from the body. And then she is looking at the body outside, staying outside the body. She went out of the body and she's looking at the body. Oh, this is the body I have to get into. She looks at it. She was not willing. But then, for the good of the humanity, she has to come back. So she came back. So this is experience which many normal, ordinary people also have had. There are people who are devotees had, but there are non-devotees who did not believe in anything, afterlife, etc. They also had such experience. That's why science is now slowly going towards these type of experiments, because you cannot simply follow some scientist who says there is no afterlife. See, without inquiring. So this inquiring spirit is very good. As many as experiments are done on this, it is good for the society as such, I feel. And Garuda Purana, if you read, it says clearly how the soul leaves the body and then goes to the upper lokas, etc., and comes back in the next birth, etc. So it is possible.
Next
Pranam Maharaj.
As you quoted from the Upanishads, there is another one I say in Rigveda that comes, Yasya chaya amrita, yasya mrityuhu, tasya mrityuhu. See, the mrityu also is a chaya, and janma is also chaya. That's why Adi Shankara says that punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare shayanam. Again and again you take birth, again and again you die, again and again I take birth in the womb of my mother. So every time it goes on, goes on, goes on. That's why the question is raised by the intelligent people, what is the solution to this? Is this cycle should go on, or is there any way that we can stop it? That's why death becomes an important aspect in our life.
Pranam Maharaj.
Namaskar.
Next question, please.
Pranam Maharaj.
Yes, please.
Pranam Maharaj.
I'm
Who is
from
speaking?
Hazaribagh.
Who is speaking?
Hello.
Who is speaking?
Hello, Pranam Maharaj. I'm Moshmi Maiti from Hazaribagh.
Okay,
I
hi.
have a
Please.
question.
Mm.
I'm Moshmi Maiti from Hazaribagh.
Yes, please. I
I
understand
have
now.
one
Please,
question.
please speak.
As you know that as you also know that in Ramakrishna ideology, Thakur Ramakrishna Dev said, I'm speaking in Bengali, he যারা এখানে এসছে তাদের এটাই শেষ জন্ম. That means this is the last birth. Those who have come here, come
Yes.
to me.
Mm.
So you are talking of rebirth.
Yes.
So please clarify.
Oh yes. So যারা এখানে এসেছে, you see this এখানে, that has to be clearly understood to get the meaning of what is this sentence. If you read it in English,
Yes.
whoever has come here will have no rebirth. Is it okay? English translation? Whoever comes here, he will have no
Yes.
rebirth. But so what is the here means? And to not to get rebirth,
Here means-
what our scriptures say, it has to be tallied. If you don't tally with our Gita, if you don't tally with Brahma Sutra, if you don't tally with our scriptures, Upanishads, then Ramakrishna's statement becomes meaningless statement, and you will not have the faith. So he says, whoever comes here, this here, he points out his body, and to him, he is not the body that we saw, with a little beard and with a little hair on his head and with some chadar he is putting on and sitting quietly. That is not Ramakrishna. So what is Ramakrishna? If you see who is he, Antaryami, in him, he says, he who came as Sri Ram, he who came as Sri Krishna, is now within here, he says. That supreme being who came and took as an avatar of Ram, and that supreme being who took an avatar of Krishna, that supreme being is within me. He says that. So that portion, so if you realize that supreme being, will you have death? Will you have death? No. No, you don't have rebirth also.
Okay, thank you, Maharaj.
Yes,
Thank you, Maharaj.
yes.
Pranam Maharaj.
Thank you.
I'm Anil Sachdev from Kashi.
Okay, very good. Thank you. A great city. Yes, we all Om Namah Shivaya to you.
Pranam Maharaj again. Maharaj, my question is about Sukshma Sharira.
Mm.
Is it has a special place in the Sthula body, or is it like a Chetana all over in the body?
Yes, that's a very beautiful question.
Sukshma Sharira.
Yes. Sukshma Sharira, the physical Sharira is called the gross body. Is it not? It's called a Sthula Sharira. Sthula means gross. That you can see, you can touch, you can experience. This is the Sthula body that you all see. Now within that there is a Sukshma Sharira. This subtle body is there, they say. This subtle body consists of Man, Chitta, Buddhi, Ahankar and Pancha Prana. These are the combination of that. Now, where is prana in your body? Can you tell me? You touch anywhere in your body?
Everywhere.
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 Where is your manas?
Yeah.
Where is your manas? So I asked a small girl, in the children's Hinduism class. So I asked her, where is your mind? She said, very beautifully she answered me, my mind is where I touch. If I touch here, my mind is here. If I touch here, my mind is here. If I touch here, my mind is here. That means what? That girl could not say the mind is everywhere. But she identified where is mind. So wherever you touch,
Nice.
you find the mind. Because mind goes there. But a stage is there when your mind is not connected to the body. You can be completely oblivious of the body. Not at all aware of your body is existing. At that time, where is the mind? Is it not a beautiful question? Your question is leading to that point only. When my mind is not
Yes.
connected to the body, where is the mind? If it is connected, it is the whole body, okay. But if it is not connected, and my meditation has taken me higher to higher and levels, then where is the Sukshma body, where it's at? The Sukshma body is completely the side of the Karan Sharir, the causal body. This is the Sukshma body is the middle. This side is Karan Sharir and this side is the Sthula body. Now this is a gross body here and the causal body is here. Here's Sukshma, the subtle body. The subtle body detaches from the gross body and goes to the causal body level. It is growing into that. So the mind is still there. Mind is not destroyed. It is still there. But it has not manifested into gross body. That's it.
We have time for one more question. We can accommodate one more question. So you can ask your last question. Thank you.
Maharaj, I am Kasturi Mukhopadhyay from Manila.
Okay, please tell me.
Namaskar.
Namaskar.
My question is, when a person dies, the body is no more functional, the prana has left the body. But what happens to the mind? The mind or the chetna, is it still alive? Does it remember all the stories and all the events of the life that has happened? Or it is on a different level?
Yes, that's a very good question that you have raised. See, the mind, when the body is completely unable to operate, how the body operates? Today I am moving my hands, I am talking to you, I am getting up and running. Every activity that I am doing, how the body does? The body does because there is a heart which pumps the blood all over the body. Is it not? And who pumps in one day more than 126,000 times the heart is pumping? It's pumping like that. And so many times in a day. You understand? Who is pumping? Air. And air is one of the parts of the nature. And that air must have some power in that. What is that power within that air that moves? That is called prana. So this prana shakti, when it comes out, how it comes out? It comes with the mind. This sukshma body is taken out. It is dragged out of this body by the prana. That's why I quoted in the beginning Prasana Upanishad. It says, Yat chitta tenesha pranam ayati. So that chitta is our mind. That chitta, mind stuff. That chitta, tenesha. This yesha chitta, then what is it? Pranam ayati. The prana is takes out. Prana is the Shakti, not air. not oxygen. If oxygen makes you living, that living power is within that air. And that is called prana shakti. So this prana is inside that. Prana takes out this man, chitta, buddhi, ahankara outside, and it goes into the current. The current sharir is still there. That is not destroyed. This current sharir is the only thing. Tomorrow, when it takes a new birth, it will find out its own parents and take a new birth, and then manifest into gross body. That's why everything you have experienced in this life, whatever you have seen, whatever you have talked, what you have tasted, whatever you have touched, every experience in this life are staying in the mind. So in the next birth, many things are easy to you. Yes.
Let us mute ourselves. Let us mute ourselves. And now we have, thank you very much for asking very insightful questions. Now we have come to last but one section of the session. That is, you can, a few of you can say your pranam to Maharajji one by one. Take 15 seconds or 20 seconds each, but please, when you speak, unmute yourself. When you stop, mute yourself, so that there is no disturbance. Thank you.
Pranam again, Maharaj.
Oh, namaskar, Rajesh. How are you? Thank you for attending. Today,
name
no?
is Anand Sprankar.
Okay.
Speaking from Pune.
Pune, thank you.
We also were in Philippines.
Okay, very good. Yes, many people from different. See, I see some from South Africa, some from Singapore, and from many places I am seeing. Yes.
Maharaj, this is
Yes.
Naveen here from Peter Marisburg, South
Oh,
Africa.
from Marisburg,
Good to
yes.
see you, man.
That's why I
Yes,
told
Maharaj.
from South Africa.
Namo.
Yes, namaste.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
And from USA also. I see somebody from USA also. Paramita.
Pranam
has joined.
Swamiji, Satit Kumar.
Satit Kumar
Ireland.
from Bangkok. Oh, very good. Thank you. Yes, after a long time meeting you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Satit.
And I attended your last. I also attended your last discourse. Last Sunday, right?
Okay.
I think last Sunday you also had discourses, so I also attended.
Okay.
But I didn't have a chance to talk to you last
Okay,
Sunday.
okay. Nice to meet you
Pranam,
again.
pranam,
Yes,
sir.
nice to meet you.
Pranam Maharaj.
Yes, namaskar, Paramajita. Bhalo to. And who is telling here in the sideways? Is it Ria? Or somebody other? I cannot understand who is there.
Ria was there, Maharaj. Ria was there. I saw Ria a couple of minutes back.
Okay, okay. Okay.
Pranam Maharaj.
Namaskar.
Richa from Edinburgh.
Pranam.
Okay. Risha from Edinburgh, you see. A devotee has come from Edinburgh also. Nirmal. Lot of people have come.
Maharaj, Pranam from Bangkok, from all of us.
Yes, thank you. Oh, Prabir also is there. Very good. Nice to meet you.
It is always such a pleasure to, listen to your deep insight discourses.
Thank you. I met Anand in Manila, is it not?
Yes, Anandji and Aparnaji were here.
Yes,
and
but
they were
Aparna and
very
yes,
instrumental in starting
yes,
this
with
center
Pushpa they came.
and activity.
Yes, I
They have
remember.
been, torch bearer for this
Yes.
center, so it is good. And he has been attending almost all the sessions.
Okay.
Both Aparna and Anand, we are so. And after leaving also, they continue to intimately and effectively associate with
Very
the
good.
center. And other thing, Maharajji, I just wanted to know, tell you for your information, we sort of are trying to develop a network with our Southeast Asian centers, and
Very good.
especially Thailand center, Mr. Praveen Mukherjee and his wife, who have been very instrumental in
Yes.
running the center, private center there. So we want to have more of such interactions all over Southeast
Very
Asia.
good. Very good.
And our next lecture is from by Satalokananda ji, and then followed by once Jaishankar Maharaj ji speaks, again Shamachitananda ji will speak.
Okay. Oh,
and
wonderful.
will
Very nice.
also entertain us with his bhajans. Both of them sing very well.
Oh, they sing very
and,
well. Yes.
Yes. So
I'm happy that you
we
didn't
have
ask me
got-
to sing.
We have got time for two more exchange of greetings. So
Okay.
you are free to do that. After our friend Hiranya, you will give vote of thanks.
Okay.
Maharaj,
Yes.
Maharaj, my pranam.
नमस्कार.
I'm Mrs. Handa ji.
ओ हंडा जी, अच्छा कहाँ है? दिल्ली में हो? आप दिल्ली में हैं क्या?
I'm Mrs. Handa from
Yes,
Delhi.
yes. Yes, Delhi. Yes. Now I remember. Yes. Namaste. It's a very good
Mr.
family. They
R.L.
were very
Handa.
close to mission. Yes.
Mr. R.L. Handa. But I can't accept this thing, Maharaj.
No, nobody can accept. Will anybody say, "Oh, death is okay"? No. I know Handa has passed away. My deep condolences to you. But yes, nobody can accept. But that's why, we have to hear again and again so that it gets sunk in the mind. And then one day you understand that these are all coming and going. That's all. He himself will come to you again because you will again unite. Don't worry. In another birth.
I can't accept it, Maharaj.
Yes. Yes, I understand that. Yes.
Maharaj.
Yes, this is dukkha, It's a great thing.
How to overcome this thing, Maharaj? I don't know.
So, Usha ji, you must always think, that there is a God with you and you are also going to leave your body one day. So, you cannot stop that. You have become old, is it not now? When you were young days, you think of your body is also growing and it is not, eternally growth is not there. So, you must understand this. Only God is with us, the Antaryami, within you. Think of God, pray to Him, and do all the japa, etc. You are all initiated devotee. So you must do the japa.
That I do, Maharaj. That I do.
Yeah, please. Like that, you have to make you yourself understand. Nobody can make you understand from outside. You have to understand. Srimati Basu.
Maharaj.
How are you,
I'm
Srimati?
Srimati.
Yes, I can see you.
I'm fine.
Very good. How is
fine,
the baby?
She's fine, Maharaj. She's now 3.5 years old.
Oh, very good.
And it is, I think we have survived this very difficult time only because of her. Because,
Yes.
my husband has been working from home and
Yes.
she has been the sole reason
Exactly,
for survival.
exactly.
And we are also in Manila now, Maharaj.
Oh, you are in Manila now.
And-
Oh, then you must
Yes,
meet
now-
our Pushpaji. Do you know
Okay,
Pushpaji?
No, I do not know her.
Oh, please
I do
meet
not
her.
know her.
There's a very beautiful center is there.
Yes, I have been to the center.
Okay,
I have met Swamiji at the
Okay.
center. I have been to the center, and not too many times now because of the lockdown and the restrictions.
Yes,
but I
yes.
have been there.
Yes. But at
But,
least you keep a telephonic contact with Pushpaji. She will guide you in the center.
Sure. And Maharaj, thank you very much for being here today, and it was a real privilege.
I'm also happy to
hearing-
see you from Singapore. I thought you were still in
Maharaj,
Singapore.
Maharaj, my pranam. Accept my deep regards, Maharaj.
Please. God bless all of you. Yes. Over to Nirmal.
Pranam Maharaj. Pranam Maharaj.
Pranam, Maharaj.
Pranam, namaskar to
Rani
everyone.
from Maharashtra and Pune.
Pranams, Maharaj.
Pranam, Maharaj.
Yes. So let us do the final prayer.
Leela from
Yes.
Jamshedpur and is
Om
my
Shant-
husband Sivdas from Jamshedpur.
Oh, Jamshedpur, Meena. Okay,
Sincerest
thank you.
pranam to you. Yeah.
Thank you, yes.
Thank you.
Now I have seen you, okay. Yes. So, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Rama Krishna Arpanam Astu.